Hi, welcome to Rig Digging with Kyle Cumberland. If I look a little wore out, I just got done shooting an ultra, the Rough Trail Ultra for Next Opportunity events this weekend in the Red River Gorge. But since I was staying here this weekend at the Koomer Ridge Campground, I figured I'd kind of show everybody around and do a quick tour just for anybody that's interested in camping in the area. There's your road coming into the campground, and immediately on your right you'll find the self-service pay station with all the rules and stuff you need to be aware of, quiet hours, and your pay station. Everything here is first come, first serve. Pay station is also known as the Iron Ranger. So be honest, pay your part for the state parks and the national forest, and we'll go through the campground. As you can see, I've got my one wheel here. We'll ride to the campground and check out all the different sites and kind of what the campground looks like. Right after the pay station, you've got a campground host right here in case if you see him out and about and got questions. One of my questions was, could I run my little Honda generator for short periods of time to charge up some camera gear? And that wasn't a problem as long as I was within the hours that weren't for quiet time. When you first come into the campground, you can either go left or right. So right now I went to the left first, and there's a double site, number 44. Not something you can put an RV in, but you could park your car and hike in and set up a tent, and short distance, so perfect for car camping. Same thing up here on this site. These sites they're super nice. This is 45, which is a double. 44 was a double as well, if I didn't mention that. For those that like to sleep in the back of their vehicles, your pickup truck or whatever, technically that's not allowed. Whether or not somebody's going to say something to you or not, that's at your own discretion. And then down here at the end of the parking lot, we've got campsites 48, 47, 46. So more or less, you basically have places to park, and then you hike into the different campsite. And of course, there's a little bathhouse, restroom down here. You got 49, 50, 52, 53, 54. And then, of course, access to the trail and another campsite on this side, which is number 54. Looks like they've got two. There's a parking spot for 54. But you can see all the different little pads out there with picnic tables and a place to hang your lantern, and walk in with all your gear. Not something you're going to be able to do a trailer or an RV by any means. So this is strictly tent camping, walk-in sites. Access to the trails just right here. So we're headed back up from those tent-only sites, walk-in. Here's your campground host when you first come into the campground at Koomer Ridge. Down that road, off to that side, that's to trailhead parking only. We'll take a quick peek at the sign right here. So as you first come into the campground, we've headed off to the right, just past the Iron Ranger. And here's some sites you could actually get a small travel trailer or an RV or like adventure van of sorts. So that's campsite 1. Here's campsite 2. Campsite 2 would not be ideal for a trailer or an RV. That's definitely a park and walk in, set up a tent. Here's my rig. That's why we call it rig digging. That's our 2016 Winnebago View. I've already got my Crosstrek set up behind it for towing back home after doing photography this weekend. That's campsite 3, which is a double. Easily park a nice size rig up there, trailer. Doubles 4 cars and up to 12 people, I believe. So you can have quite the gathering. You got a little bathhouse over here to the left. Well, restroom, which shouldn't say bathhouse. Campsite 4, my neighbor this weekend, he had a little adventure van he was camping out of and had a little campfire, so that's a nice little site for that. Got this site over here. We've got a bag over the post. I'm gonna assume that's 17 or something like that. It's right next to one of the campground hosts over here. Not very level driveway, so I'd definitely keep that for tent only. You got site 6, which is a double, same thing, that's walk-in tent. I mean, you could maybe park a little adventure van there if you had to, but not 100% ideal. Here's a site you could easily get a trailer on, site 7, or a decent sized RV. Site 3, maybe, or site 8, I'm sorry, maybe an adventure van, but definitely not an RV. It's kind of a walk-in tent site. Then you got site 9, same thing, adventure van maybe, you know, not real level, but it would work in a pinch, walk-in tent. Site 10, definitely tent walk-in. That's a really steep, you'd have to have some crazy levelers on whatever rig you had, but that's definitely tent on site 10. Would not want to park my RV or trailer on that slope. You do have water access year-round throughout the campground. They do shut down the bathhouses, the bigger bathhouse down in the winter. You got site 11, same thing. I saw an adventure van here and they had a bunch of blocks leveling it up, but ideally, you know, park your car, walk in with some tents. Site 12, same thing, you know, maybe an adventure van, something super small, but more or less parking a car and walking in. Site 13, same thing. I'd park a car, walk in. Tent only. I mean, you could probably get an adventure van up there. It depends on how handy you are with using leveling blocks and jacking your rig up. Or I guess you could sleep like the people in space and you know, NASA, strap yourself down to something so you don't slide off the bed. Site 14. You could probably get a small little van up there or a small trailer up the top of the hill there and flat. You know, you probably got 10 foot of level depending on how small your rig is, or walk, you know, park your car and walk in with a tent. Here's the main bathhouse up here, which is closed in the winter. It doesn't bother me any because I've got the little small RV. We got full amenities. Heading down to the farthest loop of the campground here. You got sites 21 and 22. Definitely park a car, walk in. If you had a little adventure van, obviously, you know, you could probably park there and make it work in a pinch if it's really crowded. 23, the double, definitely park an RV. I mean, you could probably get a nice sized rig in there. So that would work out really well. 24, would not recommend that for a trailer or an RV at all. Definitely park and walk in with tents. $25, same thing, you know, park a car, walk in with tents. You got 26, you know, same thing. I mean, once again, a lot of these you could probably get an adventure van on there if you got, like, if you're real good with leveling blocks and stuff, but for the most part, park a car, walk in with tents. 27, definitely a small car and walk in with tents. That's a very short parking pad. 28, yeah, same thing, you know, park a car, walk in with tents. Here we go, here's a pop-up. In 29, which is a double, you can see they've got plenty of space. I mean, you could put two small RVs side by side in a double. You got 30 here. Probably, once again, like level, real small RV, maybe if you're real good at leveling. Walk-in tent site. Recycle bins, trash cans, bear proof. Site 31, same thing, park a car, walk in with tents. Sorry if things sound kind of repetitive. I just want to make sure I, you know, give people a really good explanation of the campground and, you know, what sites would be ideal for the kind of camping they're trying to do. I mean, everything's solid for tent camping. 32, definitely a park a car, walk in with tents. I wouldn't even, there's a huge drop off on the asphalt there. I wouldn't even attempt that. As you can tell, it's a Sunday later in the day, so a lot of people cleared out, so there's not a lot of crowds. Pretty nice. Side 33, definitely get you a little trailer or an RV back in there. You have to go all the way towards the end, you know, something maybe that's 20 foot or so, 25. 34, same thing. You definitely back an RV trailer back, you know, back in there. You got lots of room. 35. Depending on the clearance you have on the bumper, it looks like it drops off the end, but it is flat down the back, you know, but you may bottom out depending on how your trailer or your RV is set up. Same thing with 36. It's got a, well, I wouldn't even attempt that with an RV. It's got a pretty good slope in the front, and that asphalt drops off a good 8 inches or better. 38, definitely park the RV in there and back in. It's a nice one. It's like right in the curve here with all the trees and woods around it. You got 37 over here. Probably you can get a little rig in there maybe. 39, definitely back in and get you a little trailer or an RV or a venture van in there. 40, same thing, get you a venture van or something parked back in there, small trailer. It's a shame that the asphalt, I don't know if you can see it. We'll walk over there. I want you guys to see this. A lot of these sites on this backside of the loop, just look, you know, expect to see that depending on like your RV or your trailer, this one's not that bad, but some are even like worse. They've got like pretty good drop off back here. So, you know, if you're in an adventure van or something like that, you're probably gonna be fine. But like I said, there's some that, I mean, it was a good 8-10 inches. So just be aware that if you try to back down to where the site's actually level, if you don't have much clearance on the rear, you might bottom out when your tires drop off. Little bathroom over here. Let's see, it's winter time, and I'm gonna assume it looks like they're open. So make sure, because I know the big bathhouse is definitely closed. Yeah, oh yeah, these are definitely open. Vault toilet, those are always fun. Better than nothing. Got campsite 41 over here. It's a double. That's definitely a primo site for a trailer or an RV. I mean, get 35-foot unit in there, something that's like on a E350 or 450 chassis, or a good size trailer. I mean, you could, pretty good size trailer. And you get the room over here to kind of do the back end part as far as getting back in. And that was 41. We got 42. That's a walk-in tent for sure. Campsite 43, put you in an adventure van there. Once again, if you're clever with your leveling blocks, but you know, park a car, walk in with a tent. You can see the site up on top of the hill there. I mean, this campground's awesome. I mean, first come, first serve is okay. You know, it'd be nice to be able to book in advance. We're close, so it's not that big of a deal if I had to drive home or come up with a different solution. But you know, it's kind of hard for people to drive 4 hours to come enjoy this and, you know, hope that you can get a campsite, especially in the busier season. But I guess that's part of the fun, adventuring and traveling and, you know, checking out nature, because nature's pretty neat. Here's that pop-up back here again. Yeah, that's a real nice site. And I haven't noticed like a lot of traffic through the campground like you do at some. So like, even though this is kind of off the main road, like I'm sure there wasn't really a lot of traffic going throughout the day or people going back and forth. Because there's a lot of hiking from this campground. You don't really have to drive to a trailhead or anything. So this is the one part of the campground that I haven't filmed yet, because it's like a leg in between two loops. Main restroom. Of course, they've got parking, handicap parking out here. From what I remember, when they weren't closed, they were pretty nice. The race that we did this weekend, you can see the race director's up there loading up probably the rest of his stuff from the weekend. You got sites 15 and 20 right here. You know, you park, walk in, and set up your tent. Same thing, 19, 18, and 17 right here. Those porta potties are not normally there. Those were here for the race this weekend. But yeah, 17, 18, and 19, you know, you walk in, set up a tent. This is an awesome campground. I love it. I mean, this is, you got your camp host, another campground host here, and then back up that hill where that truck was going, there's an amphitheater up there, which is where they did the start and finish for the race. And there's a little trail here that goes up to the amphitheater as well. I really appreciate you joining myself, Kyle Cumberland, with another rig digging episode. I love going through the campgrounds. I'm always looking for cool places to go camp. And you know, it's nice to be able to see some videos and have an expectation of where I'm going to be able to park and camp for the weekend. But thanks so much for checking this out, and hope this was helpful to everybody.